The diner was alive with the hum of chatter, the clinking of coffee cups, and the golden brightness of a perfect afternoon. But in one shocking, heart-stopping instant, that warmth was shattered by a cruel laugh and the splash of cold water. The entire room froze as a glass tipped, sending a stream of water over a young pregnant woman sitting quietly in the corner booth. Her plate of pancakes trembled as she gasped, water streaming down her face, soaking her blouse and blazer. The waiter who poured it, his name tag reading Brad, laughed along with his friends, their blue diner uniforms glinting under the light. What they didn't know, what none of them could have guessed, was that the woman they just humiliated wasn't just another customer. She was the wife of a man who was walking through that very door. One of the Hell's Angels, a man who had once given up everything for love. If you believe in kindness, redemption, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Silent Stories, because what happens next will remind you that compassion can turn even the hardest hearts. Her name was Grace Holloway, and she hadn't wanted to come to this diner. She was 7 months pregnant, tired and lonely. Her husband Cole was away most of the time, running his small motorcycle repair shop and working hard to stay out of the life he'd once lived. For years he had been a member of the Hell's Angels, known for his rough exterior and fierce loyalty. But after marrying Grace, he'd promised her peace. He'd promised their unborn child a world without violence, without fear. Today, Grace had come here because she missed him. The diner had been their spot once, where he used to bring her milkshakes after long rides. She sat in the same booth they had shared, tracing her fingers along the chrome edge of the table, thinking about how far they'd come. But when Brad, the waiter, approached her, she felt something off. He looked annoyed, maybe because she asked for her meal to be reheated after it arrived cold. His pride didn't like that. "We're not running a 5-star restaurant," he muttered, his tone dripping with sarcasm. Grace lowered her eyes, trying to keep calm. She wasn't confrontational. She'd worked as a teacher once. She knew how to deal with rudeness. But when Brad came back, smirking glass in hand, she didn't expect the cruelty that followed. The water hit her like an insult made physical. The sound of it splashing against her shoulders echoed in the room. The other waiters laughed, a chorus of mockery, and Grace froze. Her chest tightened, not from the cold, but from the humiliation. Every eye in the diner turned toward her. Some looked away in pity. Others just watched. The laughter cut deeper than the water ever could. She clutched her belly instinctively, trembling, trying to hold herself together. Her lips parted, but no words came. At that exact moment, the bell above the diner door jingled. The laughter faded. A heavy silence fell over the room as the sunlight poured through the doorway, and with it came 5 men in leather vests, their boots thewing against the checkered floor. The Hell's Angels patch gleamed on their backs, and at the front was Cole Holloway. His eyes immediately locked on the scene before him, his pregnant wife, soaked and shaking, and a group of waiters frozen mid-laughter. His face turned pale first, then red, his jaw tightening. Grace looked up, her face streaked with tears. Their eyes met, and everything unspoken filled the space between them. Her pain, his rage, and the unbearable weight of what had been done. Cole didn't yell. He didn't need to. The power in his silence was louder than any shout. He stepped forward slowly, his friends fanning out behind him. Every customer in the diner could feel the change in the air like a storm that had just found its center. Brad took a nervous step back, the grin wiped clean off his face. His friends, who'd been so bold moments ago, suddenly couldn't look up. Cole's boots echoed as he stopped beside Grace's booth. He took one look at her trembling hands and reached out to touch her shoulder gently. "Are you all right, sweetheart?" he asked, his voice soft but shaking. Grace nodded weakly, whispering that she was fine. But Cole saw the hurt in her eyes, and that was enough. Turning to Brad, Cole's voice lowered into something deep, calm, and dangerous. "That's my wife." The words hung in the air, heavy, final. Brad's mouth opened, but no sound came. One of the other waiters tried to stammer an excuse, but Cole cut him off with just a look. Then, without another word, he took the glass from the table, the same one used to humiliate her, and placed it back in Brad's trembling hand. "You think it's funny," he said quietly. "Try laughing now." But Grace grabbed his arm. "Cole, please," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Not like this. Let's just go." Her words, gentle, loving, desperate, stopped him. The diner was still as she stood up, dripping, fragile but unbroken. Every step she took felt like reclaiming something. Her dignity, her peace, her strength. Cole turned, his anger melting into something else. Pride. He took off his leather vest and draped it gently around her shoulders before guiding her toward the door. As they walked out, one of the bikers, an older man with a long gray beard, paused by Brad. "Son," he said quietly, "there are two kinds of men in this world. Those who laugh at pain and those who learn from it. Don't ever find yourself on the wrong side again." Then he followed them out, leaving behind only the silence of shame. That moment stayed with everyone in the diner. The laughter never returned. Brad stood frozen, the water glass shaking in his hand. For days after, he couldn't sleep. He replayed it again and again. The look in Grace's eyes, the quiet dignity in her walk, and the stillness in Cole's fury. It haunted him, and maybe in some small way it changed him, because sometimes the lessons that break you are the ones that finally make you human. Months later, on a rainy morning, Grace returned to the diner. The place had changed. Brad was still there, but he didn't look the same. He looked quieter, humbler. When she walked in, he froze again, but this time he didn't laugh. He walked up slowly, placed a hot coffee in front of her, and said softly, "I'm sorry, ma'am, for everything." Grace smiled faintly, her eyes forgiving. "We all make mistakes," she said. "It's what we do after that matters." Outside, thunder rolled in the distance, but inside that small diner, something had healed. If this story touched your heart or reminded you that everyone deserves kindness, even those who fall, please like, share, and subscribe to Silent Stories, because the world needs more compassion and more stories that restore faith in it. Speech balloon. Before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe people can truly change when shown kindness? And as Grace walked out of the diner one last time, holding her newborn baby close, a leather jacket waited for her by the door, a quiet reminder that strength and gentleness can live in the same heart.